Hello and welcome to the third video in our series on using ChatGPT to improve or assist teachers and lecturers in conducting research. In this video, we will focus on the role of organization and synthesis in research and how ChatGPT can be used to organize and synthesize research data. Organization and synthesis are crucial elements of the research process. They help researchers identify key themes, trends, and patterns in the data and communicate the findings of the study effectively. Effective organization and synthesis should be clear, concise, and accurate, and should effectively communicate the key findings and implication of the study. This may involve synthesizing data from multiple sources using visual aids such as charts and graphs to represent data and identifying and discussing the implication of the findings. So, how can ChatGPT be used to organize and synthesize research? One way is to use ChatGPT to suggest ways to summarize and synthesize the data. For example, you might type in a prompt such as, I have collected data on the effectiveness of different teaching strategies. Can you suggest some ways to summarize and synthesize data? Then ChatGPT might generate suggestions such as, you could create a chart or graph to visually represent the data and highlight any trend or patterns. Or you could write a summary of the key findings, highlighting the most important points and implication of the study. Or another response is, you could identify common themes or patterns in the data and discuss their implication for teaching practice. Another way to use ChatGPT is to organize, sorry, another way to use ChatGPT to organize and synthesize research is to use it to generate ideas for visual aids or other tools to represent the data. For example, you might type in the prompt such as, I want to create a visual aid to represent the data on the effectiveness of different teaching strategies. Can you suggest some ideas? Then ChatGPT might generate suggestions such as, you could create a line chart to show the trends. You could create a bar chart to compare the performance of different teaching strategies, or you could create a scatter plot to show the relationship between teaching strategies and student performance. It is important to note that the suggestion generated by ChatGPT is not necessarily the final approach that you will use to organize and synthesize the data. Rather, they are meant to serve as a starting point and to provide inspiration for further exploration and refinement. Once you have generated a list of potential approaches to organizing and synthesizing the data, it is important to evaluate and refine them to ensure that they are clear, concise, and accurate, and that they are effectively communicate the key findings and implication of the study. This may involve revising the wording or formatting of the visual aids or tools, or seeking feedback from colleagues, mentor, or even supervisors to ensure that the approach is effective and appropriate. To give you a sense of how ChatGPT can be used to organize and synthesize research in practice, let's take a look at an example. Suppose you have collected data on the effectiveness of different teaching strategies, and you want to create a visual aid to represent the data. You might type in the following prompt. I have collected the data on the effectiveness of different teaching strategies. Can you suggest some ideas for a visual aid to represent the data? ChatGPT might generate lists of suggestions, such as, you could create a line chart to show the trends, and so on. So, by the end of the day, ChatGPT can be a useful tool for organizing and synthesizing research data. By providing prompt or question, you can generate lists of suggestions that can serve as a starting point for further exploration and refinement. It is important to evaluate and refine the organization and synthesis of the data to ensure that it is clear, concise, and accurate, and that is effectively communicate the key findings and implication of the study. So we hope you find this video helpful and that now you have a better understanding of how ChatGPT can be used to organize and synthesize research. So let's wait for another video. And in the next video, we will explore how ChatGPT can be used to collaborate with others in our research project. So thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.